That time. It is that time. I can't
3:15?
3:15. Well, a little later than that. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets podcast. Let's go. Let's go. Presented today by Circa Sports and Casino. They are, of course, home of the greatest pool / sportsbook of all time.
That's a fact.
That is an actual fact.
100% fact.
I think it is the third best place to go and watch the game. You watch it at Ball Arena number 1.
Yep.
DNVR Bar number 2.
Yep.
And then I would say Stadium Swim number 3. We're also in the
Crypto.com Arena 4.
well, I don't know.
See wins.
We are in the Toyota Lounge as always. We got the Toyota chat popping today, and the Nuggets have their opponent. It is the Lakers. It's always got to be the Lakers.
It was meant to be, man. I mean, I was watching that game last night, and I was just thinking to myself, it's going to be the Lakers.
Yeah.
This is destiny.
It is destiny, but you know what? The Nuggets have won a championship going through the Lakers. In fact, the only championship they've ever won, they had to beat the Lakers.
When was that?
That was last year.
Yeah.
Close series.
The closest sweep in history. We're going to break it down. We're going to give you our early impression. All week, we're going to be breaking it down. Tomorrow, we're going to have big market Matt Brooks on the show. He'll help us break it down. Then Friday, we'll have a wrap-up show. D-Line will be back in town, and we're going to be breaking it down again. So 3 shows for you breaking down this series. Today, early impressions, key battlegrounds. To help me out, I got Brennan Vogt.
What's up, fellas? Malone told me I have a big-time shirt on today, so no one else can tell me anything. There's no amount of bullying you can... Oh, wait, I wore shorts. Shit. All right.
Well, Adam wore shorts yesterday. So.
Okay, cool.
Felt good, man. Felt really good to let the legs out.
Yeah, man.
Let them out a little bit. Over here, Harrison Wind.
I know Vogt's in playoff mode because he broke out the shirt. I see he got a haircut. Like, he is styling right now.
Thanks, buddy.
Locked in.
You are styling, man. We also had Nuggets practice today, so we're going to start by talking about practice. First practice after the regular season, heading into the playoffs is always interesting. I'll actually start over here, Vogt. The first thing you take in is just like the general vibe of the team, just the general take in. What did you kind of take from being at the practice today?
It reminded me of last year. I thought everyone at least wanted to give off the impression that they were locked in. You know, that was... But it's not, I think there's a confidence to it. So it's not nervous. It's not tense. It's focus. And, look, I think it's a bit like media day. Like, it's pretty hard to mess these quotes up right now. Everyone's locked in. But that's in the air a little bit. It's not the most loosey-goosey practice you've ever been to. There is an element. I mean, AG was working hard and long and just a real serious face on. I thought Jokic gave that impression. Malone gave that impression. And P-Wad as well. So much like last year for me.
What did you think?
Seemed pretty normal to me. Normal practice. But my big impression from what Michael Malone said is that, like, he was pretty guarded with his comments. He didn't really let that much slip. That's
true. There wasn't a lot of meat to, like...
Although Lakers fans still found a way to twist his quotes into him throwing shade.
Which one?
His quote about, we swept them last year, we swept them again this year.
Yeah.
They're hungry. They want to change that narrative. I mean, he's just spitting facts, but the Lakers fans, the softest fan base in the world, finds a way to construe that into him throwing shade.
And so true.
But I just thought Malone was like very...
it's so funny when you actually hear the quotes and then you hear, like, you just broke down the literal quote, and it's like, that's what they're mad at. What are we doing here?
He was just very low key, very calm, cool, and collected. He before Peyton Watson came over to talk to the media, he goes, "Peyton, no bulletin board material." I like that.
And it kind of...
He might have wanted to save it all for himself, but...
But he didn't rip too much off.
Yeah, he didn't today.
And Jokic takes this approach always, so no surprise here.
Right.
But he had a lot of praise for the Lakers, said it was their toughest series last year, which we've now heard from different Nuggets about every series. But there was, and Peyton obviously is from LA, so he just has a lot of respect for the area and the organization. I thought there was if last year was they were eager to throw the first punch, so to speak, verbally, I thought this year they were just like, look, that's behind us. And we're just going to go into this without any bulletin board material for the other guys.
Yeah, I thought good energy. There was an enormous amount of media, and I really wonder how much of it would have been there if it weren't the Lakers. You know, it wasn't any Lakers media, but they'll arrive tomorrow, I'm sure, or Friday. But that was my first note is the Nuggets are going to have a weird experience this year because the first round of the playoffs, usually it's like bigger than regular season. Second round's bigger. Then conference finals is big, and the finals is huge. This one I can already tell is going to be huge from the get-go, and that's going to be different than last year.
It is, and it's going to be a storyline because it's going to feel like the Nuggets are playing in the conference finals again.
Correct.
Even though it's the first round. The first round against Minnesota, honestly, the vibe, the media presence, how big it feels bigger than the regular season. Not that much bigger than a big regular season
An extension of it almost, yeah.
Then you step up to Phoenix. It felt a little bigger. You got to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers last year. That felt like an NBA Finals. That felt bigger than the finals felt, to be totally honest.
The foreign press for the finals is what made the finals feel big. I'm serious.
Yeah.
We went to media day. I was so excited to be like, oh, everyone's in town. And I was like, oh, from out of the country.
Yeah.
These are not. Yeah, that's what the extra people are.
But playing the Lakers, it's going to feel like a bigger series than a 2-7 first round series.
Yeah. I think
it's going to be a storyline, I feel like.
I think so too. I think it's going to be a marquee series. It might be the marquee series. Knicks 76ers maybe takes marquee series, but now that's Lakers Nuggets. I think it could be the marquee series of the first round.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Just look at the national TV schedule.
ABC, baby.
Primetime ABC.
Let's get it. All right, let's get into practice notes here.
Oh, well, the first big note and the first big sign that the Nuggets are locked in here. Last night, Nuggets-Pelicans, or Lakers-Pelicans, playing game. The whole team went over to Nikola Jokic's house. He invited...
Wait, who told you that?
The whole team. Peyton Watson told us that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought it was a cool detail that Jokic first revealed that they all watched it together. Then where did you watch it? He said, I'm not going to tell you that. And then Peyton Watson was like, yeah, we went to Jokic's house. It was great.
They went to Jokic's house. They watched the game there. Peyton Watson also said they drank some rakia, although he pronounced it rakia. Small correction there, P-Watt. It's rakia.
You know what, though? Do you remember
It's all good, though.
Marco from Ambar Restaurant called it rakia?
Wait, really?
Yeah, but I think everybody else called it rakia, but he had like rakia. He has it. I've seen the documentary a million times, so I have internalized this. But
Whose doc was that?
ours.
Oh, that's right.
No word on if they went in the pool, though.
What are the odds? What are the odds that they actually...
This was a pool party?
A pool party / watch party. What are the odds? It was a nice day.
Well, does Jokic gatekeep his pool? Because it's so beloved to him.
It's newly built. We know that.
So, like, the team can come over and hang out in the living room, but you guys can't all get in my pool. That's a sacred place.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I don't think they got in the pool together.
Hot tub?
A couple fellas just happened in hot tub?
Hot tub sesh with the fellas.
There you go.
But no, it seems like it was a good time. And then the Nuggets coaches, they were not there. They watched the game at the arena, and they ate pizza.
Blue sky nonetheless.
Blue pan.
Also,
Blue pan.
Adam, Harrison, Dev, and I got together to watch that game without you.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
You and D9 weren't
That
invited.
hurts.
Yeah.
But I accept.
We have both are correct.
Oh!
Wow.
Wow.
Right. Well,
A follow-up here. Which regions, if you can, explain the pronunciation and where the regional difference comes from? I'm curious.
Also, before I forget, I have to say, Jokic's Perfect 10 Hotels.com ad. He does say cola. He says Nikola. He calls himself Nikola.
I am so glad that we don't have to get yelled at by all the Serbs again.
Yeah.
We've met them. You know, you try to meet someone halfway. 99.9% of the way there. Nikola's the one vestige of because that's how we learned his name before we knew anything. And now the fact that he's like, I told you, I asked him specifically this in the early days. He's like, I don't care, I like Nikola.
Yeah, he's fine. He
So,
says,
like, all right,
he says
I'll call
it
you
kind of the
Nikola.
way all the Nuggets say it. And then I also want to point out, if you let's say you met 10 Serbians, 442, they all say it different. Anyway, just pointing that out there.
Also at practice, a former Nuggets coach, Wes Unseld Jr.
That's right.
Just in the gym.
Okay, quick follow-up. Still currently employed by the Washington Wizards?
I believe so.
Is this like...
Didn't he get
It
the
is- I think it is
promotion to the front office?
Yeah, but I think it is common because I know like Popovich has done, have gone to like
Yeah.
a team or something like this. So I think it is.
Okay,
I
so
think
it's common.
I
I
think
wonder,
it's a
I
thing
wonder
that
if
happens.
the Wizards are like, honestly, let's give him an internship with a winning front office. Let's just
Yeah,
get him
for
over
real.
there.
That would be weird thing to say no to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously, like, he's very closely tied to the team, was the coach here for a long time, top assistant for Michael Malone. So I think Malone definitely likes having him back around. The overall vibe, though, I'd say from Michael Malone, the guys are focused. They're locked in. That's what Peyton Watson said. Michael Malone said, look, we're the defending champs. Everyone's coming for us. There's 15 teams trying to take away what we have. There's a bullseye on our back even more now. We have a responsibility to understand that. And then he made sure to drop that. Look, nobody's repeated since the Warriors. Nobody's done it. We know how hard it's going to be.
I have a good note here, though, because we're going to have that clip later on and some stuff. Banger delivery from Michael Malone. I feel like Malone, and I know he doesn't do this, it's innate in him. It's almost like he practices some of these lines. And that line came at the end of a long answer, and then he gets to it as if it's like, all right, this is where I'm going to put this in. Listen, guys, we have a bullseye on our back. This is not like last year. The teams are coming into our
16
building.
teams
trying
wanna take this from us.
It was like you could hear the music
15.
in the background, like the beat starting to drop as he was doing it. I thought it was a great line and a great... I really think storytelling is important from a leader, from a basketball coach. And I think Malone is good at distilling things down to, here's the story, you guys. They're all coming for what you have.
Right.
Be ready from the get-go. It was good messaging.
But overall, I'd say he was pretty, he didn't really want to reveal too much.
Yeah.
He was asked about the bench, how deep you're going to go. Didn't say much about it.
As deep as I need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as deep as we need.
Didn't really reveal anything. He did say he thinks Peyton's going to have a hell of a series. But he didn't really speak on, that many guys individually. Just very kind of like bunker mentality, I felt like.
I like it. I like that a lot. Any other notes?
Well, Peyton Watson spoke as well. I mean, there's going to be a big storyline around Peyton Watson going back to L.A., playing in front of a lot of friends and family, playing against the Lakers, the team he grew up rooting for. He did say, though, like, now it's Mile High City forever. He did drop that one in there.
He did drop that one.
Yeah.
Forever.
But I feel like that's going to be a storyline, around his series. There's going to be a lot of familiar faces in the crowd. I'm sure he wants to put on a show for them.
It could work against him a little bit in the early games, when they first get to LA. This is his first playoff series. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of anticipation. And then he's going to play some of these games in his hometown. And I don't mean pressure he can't overcome, but some guys get a little overhyped in their early playoff action. Like, I could see Peyton Watson initially missing a shot by 3 feet and then calibrating from there.
Right.
Yeah, I could see it too. But although, what did Yoke say was the most important thing for him?
To do the things that nobody else wants to do.
No, today.
Oh.
Go crazy. Today, when asked about what do you
Sorry.
need from P-Watt, he said, he needs to go crazy. And I
What
take
does that mean?
I think it means fly around. Like, it just means you need to be like insane levels of energy in the series. And as we start to turn more towards early impressions, I think that's gonna. Yoke always gives you. We joke about this. He always gives you something that's actually to think about, packaged in something that sounds thoughtless. It sounds like he just said go crazy. Whatever. But it's
this
he's
is the
actually
guy
saying,
who's never told a lie.
never told a lie. And I really do think that there is a truth in that about, hey,
Totally.
P-Watt needs to go crazy in this series.
Totally.
Needs to have some crazy energy in it.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's pretty much it.
Any final thoughts from you on practice today?
I think we covered it.
I think we're
we
covered?
covered it.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, early impressions, and later on in the show, key battlegrounds. Our first thought, though, almost like a Red Hawk Roofing big takeaway
Yeah.
of the matchup.
Nice. Miller Lite. Man, I could go for a Miller Lite right now. Miller time here at DNVR. The best thing about Miller Lite, they keep it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. It's light. It's easy to drink. You don't feel full after you drink a Miller Lite, and it tastes like beer. That's something you can't say for every light beer out there. 96 calories, the original light beer since 1975. We're probably going to be drinking a lot of these during the playoffs. That bucket right there on the set, that will probably be refilled a couple times over the next few weeks. Miller Lite, times change, but you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/DNVR. You can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
The playoffs are starting. That regular season's behind us. It is not too late to play fantasy sports, especially with the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and that's Underdog Fantasy. I love their pick'em game. It's as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats, and I like to think we watch the Nuggets pretty closely. I'm fairly sure all of you in the chat do.
These are my
as well.
picks for tonight.
So here's an example. Wynn's got picks for players from different teams. He's got a couple. I can't see it, but he's going to pick higher or lower on different stat combos they offer you. And you're competing against people making different picks, higher or lower on those same numbers for a fixed pool. And look, I've had success with this. I feel like I have a good idea sometimes. It's not perfect. If Jokic is going to go over under rebounds, I like first quarter points for Michael Porter Jr. sometimes. Right. You know, he doesn't always have those great 4 quarters, but he can get off to hot starts. And the fun way is this is like, you can kind of back your favorite players, fade your least favorite players.
Totally.
Especially if there's a guy on the other team you know is going to go 6 for 21. Just fade Jason Tatum. A lot of different ways you can play, but the pick'em game is awesome. So sign up today with the promo code DNVR and get your first deposit doubled up to $100, as well as an instant pick'em special in your lobby. That's Underdog Fantasy, code DNVR. Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
Alrighty, back here, segment 2, DNVR Nuggets podcast. 5 shows this week, plus the 6th show on Saturday. We're getting you ready for this playoffs. All right, early impressions. I'll start over here. Early impressions. When you think about this matchup this time around, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Dotting your I's and crossing your T's. So I think the Nuggets match up well with this team. I think the Nuggets can get what they want in the half court. I think they can defend the Lakers in the half court. So it's the little things, man. It's the we're focused on up stuff. Just limit your turnovers. Rebound well. Don't make it too easy for them in transition, where LeBron still almost looks like peak LeBron. Maybe not athletically, but just when he decides, that's where he can still say, like, none of you can stop me. In the half court, sometimes it comes and goes. But in transition, he can put his head down. And I think, this may sound like oversimplified, but when you've beaten a team 8 teams in a row, I don't think it's a coincidence, especially when 4 of them were consecutive in the conference finals. Play your game. Don't make it easy for them. And you are going to win this series. That's just my initial thought.
What about you?
My biggest battleground?
No. This is just like your first impression. Like your big. Yeah. If you had to distill it down to one line here.
This is a series that I think in some ways is going to be more difficult than last year's series against the Lakers.
I agree.
For a couple reasons. I think the fact that this series is happening in the first round helps the Lakers more, in my opinion.
I agree.
They're going to be fresher, but then again, you can say the Nuggets are going to be fresher too. But I think that matters more for the Lakers. Anthony Davis, 31 years old. LeBron James, 39 years old. That being fresher helps them more than I think it helps the Nuggets, who are younger, have younger legs. Also, the Lakers are playing really well right now. They've gone to a new starting lineup that they did not really play at all in that Nuggets-Lakers series in the Western Conference Finals. And that lineup's been really good on offense. They get out and run a lot. Their rebounding has been better as well. And those are kind of the 3 areas that I'm looking at. Can the Nuggets lock in defensively? Can they get back in transition? That's a big part of it. And can they rebound? Can they rebound? Because the Lakers are going to bring Jackson Hazen off the bench. He's a better rebounder than like anybody the Nuggets have on their second unit. Now you can play Aaron Gordon there and match up a little like that. But Denver, I feel like, is going to have to rely on its role players to get rebounds. Last year, Bruce Brown got a lot of those.
Yeah.
This year, Christian Brown's got a rebound, Peyton Watson's got a rebound, and Aaron Gordon's got a rebound. If that happens, I think the Nuggets take care of business pretty easily.
I think those are really good points, and there's a lot more we'll get into on those specific things. For me, my early impression is this. I think the big parts of this matchup are largely the same as they were last year, or perhaps even tilted in Denver's favor. What I mean by that is Murray, I think, is an improved player over last year, plus he's just been back longer. His ability to take over, he was phenomenal in the playoffs in that matchup last year. He was unbelievable, 32.5 points. But I expect him to repeat at that because I don't think they have a meaningful impact. I know they've added Gabe Vincent, like they have some guys. I don't think it should matter for Murray's ability to score, and I think that the same is true for Jokic. That's the big pieces. I don't think LeBron and AD are meaningfully different than they were last year. I know Lakers fans will try to tell you the health or this or that. They look pretty healthy going to the conference finals and unhealthy when they started getting their ass kicked. And I think that the Lakers, they're worse defensively this year than they were last year. And I don't think that's just, the numbers say that, but they're going to reach a level. I actually just think that they're probably a little bit worse defensively than they were. So the big things to me are the same as last year. But the little things to me are more concerning. And we knew that coming into the year, right, the bench. But Bruce Brown and Christian Brown had very interesting series against the Lakers last year. Christian Brown had a game he did not play.
Game 4.
Did not play in that one, DNP, because of, again, the matchup and the texture of it. And Bruce Brown was murdering D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell, to me, is the key of this series. He's an X factor. We'll get to that later. And that was a first-round knockout for the Denver Nuggets in terms of D'Angelo Russell was not only neutralized. Russell is one of those players. Every team has these types of players that can be a multiplier for the good or a multiplier for the bad. Denver turned him into a multiplier for the bad. He can't guard anyone, especially Bruce Brown, who took great joy in going right at him off of the dribble. And then offensively, he wasn't making his shots, and it was not worth the risk of trying to play him and give him extra spacing. So to me, the big things to me are the same, and those are important, but the marginal things are much more of a question mark. And they were huge last year in that series. Yeah. I'm not saying they're a negative because there is a chance that Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, even Reggie Jackson has a strong positive imprint on this series. But they are more of a question mark, obviously, than what we saw from Bruce last year.
I just think you know what you're going to get from your main guys in this type of series.
I agree.
You know what you're going to get from Nikola Jokic. He's going to be incredible. You know what you're going to get from Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., you know those guys are going to play well. I have a lot of confidence in that. They know this team inside and out. They've played against them a million times. The Lakers have a lot of the same roster from last year's playoff series. It's about the role players for me. It's about the bench. Bruce Brown averaged 28 minutes a game
in
that Lakers series last year.
It's a lot.
Nobody on the Nuggets bench is ready to play 28 minutes a game in the playoffs right now. Yeah. So that means you got to play your starters a little bit more, I think. You got to play KCP more than you did in that last playoff series.
Which is possible, by the way. He only played, I think, 33 minutes a game or something like that, which is pretty much normal regular season minutes for him.
Yeah.
I think there's room to bump him up because Yoke was at like 42. So there's room to bump him up to 37, 38, 39. That gets you a little bit closer.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it's on Christian Brown.
I agree.
He's got to have a good series. If he has a great series, Denver wins this thing easily.
What do you mean by great series? What does he need to do?
He's just got to be really impactful. He's got to get on the glass.
So he's got to rebound.
That's huge.
He's got to be the hustle player that we know he can be. He's got to get 50-50 balls. He's got to make threes.
See, I agree. The 50-50 balls, I think he's going to do that. The defense, I think he's going to do that. But to me, that's the default setting. That's like, okay. But I think he has to do more than that.
The three ball's big.
Yeah.
And, he's just got to be in the mix offensively, you know? He's got to be cutting and getting easy baskets. He's got to, crash the offensive glass, get some putbacks. He's got to do his best Bruce Brown impression, to be honest.
But Christian can do that in the rebounding department. And I've said this in the last few shows. I think they're going to miss Bruce Brown's offense. I think they can defend with CB and Peyton. I think rebounding, maybe not. But hopefully CB can replicate some of that. In the first 3 games of that series last year, Brown scored 16 points, 12 points, 15 points. And that 15 points was on the road. who's the Nugget off the bench that scores 15 points on the road? And maybe you say Reggie, but I don't have nearly as much confidence in that as I do Bruce. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that you associate Bruce with, I think the Nuggets still have, might even have in abundance this year. But it's actually the scoring, ironically, that I think they'll miss the most off the bench. And why maybe one or two of these road games could go differently than they did last year.
I agree with you. I think it's the offense, and it's not even because I'm with you again. You can make up for it. You don't have to win the exact same way every year. You can win different ways. And one of Denver's strengths last year in the playoffs was they won each round differently, like different things were called upon. I think this year, though, it is that you're going to need some kind of attack on D'Angelo Russell and Austin Reeves in particular. They're not the greatest defensive players. They're not stoppers. You need to punish that because if you don't punish it, they are offensive players and they are floor spacers. And I just think both of those guys, when the Lakers get neither of those guys going, if they get played off the court or just played into their where they're out of their comfort zone, to me, they lose out every time. If you get one of them, okay, maybe they win, maybe they lose. LeBron's got to play pretty great. He's got to play pretty great. If you get both of them, the margin gets way wider for them. The margin of error gets way wider. So for me, that's why, and I think it's not so much about shutting them down, which I think Christian Brown can have a big impact there on guys. I think he can make a big impact on slowing them down and doing different things. But you've got to punish them on the other end in ways that creates frustration and creates Darvin Ham going, do we need to mix it up? Do I need to play a different player here? Don't let them get away with their offensive lineups.
Game 1, first half, I'm going at D'Angelo Russell as often as I can. I'm trying to establish that game 1, first quarter, first half of this series. Make the Lakers doubt themselves a little bit in that regard. Like you said, make Darvin Ham think about, should I mix things up? Like, should I go away from this? Is last year happening again?
Right.
That would be my strategy. Neutralize D'Angelo Russell. That should be the first thing the Nuggets do in this series.
Especially because he's been better this year. Like, he looked to me offensively like a much better weapon. I know he could always get hot and hit shots, but to me, the way he's played this year, at least in a lot of the games I've caught, I think offensively, he looks more confident to me than in a long time. So to that point exactly, can you still make his presence on the floor a point of consternation for Darvin Ham and his staff? I think it's possible, but again, this is your point. That was Bruce's responsibility almost personally last year.
And it was personal. That's the thing.
And he made
almost
it, and he made it
D'Angelo
personal.
specifically.
Yeah.
And look, D'Angelo Russell last year was a minus 47 in 4 games. His minutes were the ones that Denver dominated. And then the Lakers, they were... this year, a total. This is not a net rating. This is a total. They were a -3, so basically a net 0, in 500 minutes with Anthony Davis and LeBron on the court, but D'Angelo Russell off. They need him for floor spacing purposes. They need him out there, and Denver needs to make that an anchor for them, not a wing. I think that's to me is my early impression. I think a lot of the game plan for both teams is going to be centered around that specific, who can outmaneuver each other to get that. But I feel pretty confident about the big stuff. I think is going to go more or less how we know.
Me too.
Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get into some other battlegrounds and some other numbers about this series.
Denver's best roofers, Red Hawk Roofing. These guys are great at what they do. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. They are Colorado's best estimators and contractors. Huge DNVR supporters. I'm sure they'll be here at the bar every playoff game. Call them up today if you're looking for a new roof over your home or business. These guys are the people to call. We've even been up on a roof when Red Hawk Roofing was redoing that roof. I can tell you they're great at what they do. They're who you want to go with. RedHawkRoofing.com. Free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Free, no obligation roof and property inspection as well. Give them a call. RedHawkRoofing.com. Tell them DNVR sent you.
Circa Resort and Casino. That's the DNVR headquarters out in Las Vegas. It could be your headquarters too. It's Vegas's first ever adults-only casino. Saves time checking IDs. Plus, who wants to see kids when you're in Vegas? No offense, children or parents. It's Las Vegas though. Plus, they've got the world's largest sports book, a 3-story stadium style place with tons of VIP seating, Dugout Club, Legends Club, Champions Club, Circa Club Upper, whole bunch of stuff. The casino's huge. Then there's Stadium Swim. I don't know if you've heard about Vegas. Gets hot. Nice place to hang out is in a pool. The best place to hang out is the Stadium Swim Pool because it's a 4,000 person capacity with a gigantic LED screen filled with sporting events that are happening live, perhaps sporting events that you just placed a wager on in Vegas. Experience Stadium Swim and watch your favorite teams at Circa Resort and Casino. Book your stay with DNVR 20 for 20% off.
All right, back here, segment 3, DNVR Nuggets podcast. Let's get into some more Battlegrounds here. Points in the paint. Michael Malone stressed this one tonight. Wind, you brought it up just a moment ago. Lakers are second in the league in points in the paint. They're number 1 in the league in free throws. Those two things go hand in hand.
Wait, really?
Well, for most teams, those things go hand in hand. For the Denver Nuggets, I don't know how it doesn't somehow, but they get to the line and they go to and they attack the rim. This is going to be a challenge, keeping them away from the paint. Denver did a great job of it last year, and what Denver did a really great job of was not getting in foul trouble. But this, and it has to be said, it's another year where Jokic or Anthony Davis cannot be in foul trouble in this series. Because Denver doesn't have a facsimile. I actually do think they'll miss Jeff Green in that way. Jeff Green was most important in this series, in large part because he's 6'9" with a strong build. And he's a body that you could throw on LeBron. And I actually thought he did a good job in this series last year. They don't have a guy to spell Aaron Gordon if he gets in foul trouble. And he's going to guard two guys that draw some of the silliest, most ridiculous fouls, but nonetheless high-volume foul drawers.
Well, it's probably also going to be on Peyton Watson to guard LeBron James a little bit.
That's a tough ask.
Who else is going to guard him other than Aaron Gordon?
Yeah, it's a tough ask.
Who
else?
I think it was a tough ask for Jeff Green, too. I know that it's not he's like a bigger, stronger
guy. But is
guy.
it a tougher ask than it is to say of like Christian Brown?
Or Peyton?
I
don't think I don't know if it's necessarily tougher for Peyton than it was for Jeff Green.
He's got 60 pounds difference.
Yeah.
Jeff Green did not.
Yeah, Jeff Green's strength showed up in this matchup, absolutely.
And LeBron wasn't like quick enough to really punish him the way you would think.
LeBron also respected Jeff Green at a level where
that's true.
He wasn't going to just try to bully him every possession.
They've had battles before.
Yes. If he sees P-Watt trying to defend him,
he's going to go right through him.
He's going to try to put him into the rim, you know? So, yeah, foul trouble is going to be huge. But, you know, for me with this Nuggets team this year, when they win, you know, they play Nuggets basketball. When they lose, they get away from Nuggets basketball. When they lose, they start jacking too many threes. They don't pound the paint. They don't live inside. They don't get to the line. And like Nuggets basketball is about owning the paint, just being a bully in there, establishing yourself in there, getting offensive rebounds, finishing. And if they do that against the Lakers, if they own the paint, they'll win.
Yeah, I just think turnovers so that they're not in transition a lot matters. I think the Nuggets are good at that when they want to be. I think rebounding. I love Wynn's point about particularly rebounding when Jokic isn't on the floor. How much of that was that most of the year it was Zeke Naji or no one at all this year versus the drop off from Bruce. So I'm eager to see how a unit with Aaron Gordon out there more like can they rebound a little better than they have, especially down the stretch of the regular season. But again, like that's the, in my opinion, that's the maturity stuff. Like take care of that stuff so that the meat and potatoes, which we expect to go our way, can just play out that way. And that is the part that I do think maybe some Lakers fans are missing is like, yes, it was a close series and that the scores felt close until the fourth quarter. But the big things are Denver's execution in the clutch. And that gap is so wide. And there was nothing to indicate in that series or in this regular season that the Lakers had figured it out. So don't make it easy for them. And I think the Nuggets know that, and I think they expect to perform that way.
The Nuggets are the number 1 net rated team in the clutch. They're the number 2 defense, number 3 offense. The Lakers are number 9 in net rating in the clutch, number 9 offense, number 13 defense. They're basically average, whereas Denver, that's their bread and butter. How do they close? They know exactly who they are and what they want to do, and they have a 2-man game that, you know, up until this point has been unstoppable. All of last year, through the playoffs, it was unstoppable. All of this year, so far it's been unstoppable. So I think you hang your hat on their ability to close those close moments. And then I think there's something also too, just like Denver, for as good as they've been this year, and look, it is a better defensive season than ever before. I think their defense lends itself to the playoffs this year. The shorter rotation, the guys we're talking about, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, when you go to your bench, your offense, your rhythm takes a hit, but your defense should actually maintain when you go to your bench. You should not lose anything, and that's very rare for a bench in a playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, their bench is better than it was last season. That's an easy statement to make, I think. You know, Christian Brown, his minutes increasing, combined with Peyton Watson, the Nuggets bench is defending at a higher level and will defend at a higher level in the playoffs than it did last year. Like, that's just a fact. And then you put those two guys next to Jamal Murray, KCP, and Aaron Gordon, or Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon. You got a really well-balanced lineup. So I trust the Nuggets bench to actually be very effective in the playoffs, very effective in this series. And another battleground that I don't think people are talking enough about is Michael Malone versus Darvin Ham.
Yeah.
The Nuggets have a massive coaching advantage in this series. Massive.
Yep.
Michael Malone by now is a tried and tested playoff coach. He has been through the battles. He has shown that he can adjust in the middle of a series. Darvin Ham hasn't, and you got to have a lot of trust in Michael Malone to make the right adjustments, push the right buttons if he has to.
Not panic.
Totally.
Lessons he learned, right? We spent a lot of the last show talking about with Katie Wingy how easy it is to overlook how much these guys literally grow up, both in age and as players. This includes a head coach who has been through a lot of long series, has lost and won a lot of long series with this core, more or less, and has, of course, won a championship. So know why you win, know why you lose, know what to stick to, know when it's time to adjust. These are things that I think, like, that's your material advantage as a coach with experience. I think Wynn's spot on again.
Let's talk about the big pieces now. Jokic versus AD. Last year felt a lot like Jokic. That was a guy that had given him problems in the past, so that it felt a lot like Jokic had completely solved him throughout game one. And then from then on out, they didn't even have AD guard Jokic. They put him off of him. I'm very curious to see that matchup this year. Look, anything's possible. You go in with a healthy respect. That was the message today. I would be pretty surprised, though, if Jokic doesn't thoroughly win that matchup again this year. And that's part of why, if you're Denver, you should feel confident.
Yes.
Not just because you're the reigning champs, you're the higher seed, you won 57, a franchise record 57. Not because of all that, but because Jokic seems to know that matchup. And when you said they've won how many in a row?
I think it's 8 against the Lakers.
A lot of that has to do with if your best big man is going up against the other team's best big man and you're dominating, you're going to win a lot of games.
Do you think they even start game one, first quarter, with Anthony Davis guarding Jokic?
Can I say something?
You got to think they at least start.
Can I say something?
For a couple minutes like that.
This is what NBA media is really soft on players. It just is. And on teams and on executives. It's not soft on everybody. There are some teams where it's like, all right, Gobert's off because you got another 7-footer here.
Well, Gobert actually guards him more than most bigs.
And even he guards him. And then what did Eric Spoelstra comes out and says? Bam Adebayo is the only guy willing to do this. I think it's wild how much NBA media is afraid to say Anthony Davis stopped guarding Jokic because he was getting cooked, which is an inexcusable answer, in my opinion, for a player who is the best defensive big man of a generation.
Well, you have that, and then there's also this commonly accepted narrative that Anthony Davis was the best defensive player in the playoffs last year.
Insanity.
That's like a universally accepted
He was dominant,
take.
though, for 2 rounds.
Yeah, until he played a good big man.
And it was like one of the greatest playoff games of all time that Jokic laid on him.
Oh my God.
But what I'm saying is,
No,
I think
you're
that
right.
I think
You're
that
right.
Jokic, and it wasn't even just that game. We talked about it when it happened this year. Then they go to the Rui adjustment, right, and try to play small and use Anthony Davis. Jokic even seemed to have figured that out to a degree we'd never seen in terms of, okay, I get Anthony Davis's doubling habits, our spacing is down pat, and I'm just scoring over Rui now. And Anthony Davis didn't even know when to double or when not to. It was like he had him kind of in hell.
Yeah.
And to me, that is a big piece of why I would feel confident about the series.
Also, the Lakers need Anthony Davis to be their second best offensive player, if not their best. Not D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis. And Jokic knows this. And Jokic just runs him, man. He runs him. Oh, it's a miss? We're running. Oh, it's a make? We're running. And just go on Imagen or all of your photo stock places and look at pictures from that series. You'll find freeze frames of Anthony Davis, eyes bulging out of his head. We're doing this again, and it's a lot to ask to guard Jokic and run with him and then go score on the other end.
Right.
I don't think any center can do it.
Yeah.
The guys we talk about are Rudy and AD. He gets the better of them anyway, and it's not like those guys often score 30 points against him. So when you have the best player in the world, you just get this benefit of a doubt in a series, and you should feel that as a fan. Not only are the Nuggets a proven good matchup here, they have the best player in the world who's looked comfortable in this matchup, and that has to provide a blanket of security.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, I want to talk about these play-in games that have happened, and even talk about the impressions of watching the Lakers. Just how good did they look in what was a very important play-in game for them?
Do you want tickets to Nuggets Lakers? Game 1 coming up Saturday. Hit up the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Concerts, shows, sporting events, Nuggets games, Avs games, Rockies games, whatever you want.
What are they going for?
Game Time has it. I think like 100
Really?
get-in price.
All right.
Last I saw,
Man,
but it might have gone
can I
up.
tell you something? Go to a playoff game.
Oh, yeah.
Go to it, man. It's unlike I've been to games before. Go to playoff games, man. They are so special. I know the ticket prices go up. Worth it, man.
Right. You even might get a chance to chant "Who's Your Daddy?" Like that is a bucket list item. Chanting "Who's Your Daddy?" at a Nuggets Lakers game. Bucket list.
I love, man, whenever we get the OGs that come to it, or older fans that have been following the Nuggets for a long time, they always tell us stories of games they were at. It's almost always, I was at this game.
Yeah. Concert shows, sporting events, last minute deals. Save up to 60% buying last minute tickets on the Game Time app. They got flash deals, zone deals, all in pricing. Download the app. Redeem code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account. Redeem code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase.
American Raptors are Colorado's only professional rugby team. They play right here at Infinity Park. And there's a real thriving culture here in Rugby Town, USA. Yeah, I'm talking Denver, Colorado. If you want to learn more about the game, as you watch more of the game, check out the weekly DNVR Rugby podcast hosted by our guy Colt Strickler. Same place you find all your DNVR pods. Just hit that subscribe button. Come celebrate Colorado Day at Infinity Park this Sunday, April 21st, as the American Raptors square off against Pampas. Arrive early to grab your free American Raptors Colorado keychain at the gate, interact with mascots from local college and professional sports teams, and indulge in delicious
Is that Argentina or the Brazil?
Colorado-themed food from our on-site food trucks.
Argentina.
Kickoff is set for 3 p.m. Tickets are only $10. Kids 12 and under are free. Spend the afternoon in Rugby Town, USA, and cheer on the American Raptors as we celebrate all things Colorado.
Very good one.
Thanks, man.
I'm trying to think of which hawk actually winters in the Pampas and flies up here every single year. It's an American raptor, but
Work
it
your
goes
way
down
through
there
live
to
on
the
the air.
Pampas. We'll figure it out here. Swainson's hawk, that's what it was. Saw one the other day. They're back. Long migration, really long one. All right, did you guys watch the games last night? I assume you did. Actually, I'm sorry you did. We were texting through them.
Yeah, I tuned in.
Real quick, what was your impression of the Lakers? Were you impressed?
No, I wasn't. I mean, they looked good in the second half. LeBron
No, they didn't. They looked good in the third quarter.
Yeah. LeBron played well.
Yeah.
Gabe Vincent, he came back from the dead. He's an intriguing piece for this series, I think, because if you're looking at like how are they going to guard Jamal Murray, I got to think Gabe Vincent has to be able to play like 15, 20 minutes, shadow him all around the floor.
Word, fine.
But I mean, last year that was Dennis Schroeder, and like he obviously wasn't able to do anything.
Gabe Vincent's on the smaller side. He did have some good, play some good defense on Murray in one of the games I remember. But look,
not this year. He hasn't played this year at all. Gabe Vincent.
Really? Oh, really?
Yeah, like this is his. He just came back.
He's not even going to get a shot.
I mean, I don't know. Played pretty well last night.
This is one where I feel Murray, like, that's not. There are guys that I look at. Herb Jones would have been one of them. Like Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, they
like,
all have something in common.
Yeah. You tell me a little guy who's going to get into Murray space, I go, okay, man. Like, this is. Murray's a veteran player. That's not the type of defender that gets him.
That's it. Those are the defenders he gets. Your Marcus Smarts, I guess Davion Mitchell, just archetype. Not that he's really a guy.
He is, though. Defensively, he's a guy.
Sure. So, yeah, like those are the guys that everyone goes, what great defenders, and I don't think Jamal sweats those ones.
No, not at all.
It's the aggregate length and the long guys that make it hard to turn corners, that can pressure him up and down the floor the whole time, that I think adds up.
I'm with you. I think LeBron looks incredible in stints. I think Anthony Davis is another guy that... What did Draymond Green go in on about Jokic? He's tough. He's tough. He's tough. DeAndre Ayton is tough. It's always tough. It's tough to play against Jokic because he plays, as George Karl would call it, an elbow and asshole game, which I think is the greatest phrase that nobody else in basketball uses, but I wish everyone did.
It is great.
He plays an elbow and asshole game, but also because he gets up and down the court a lot. And again, I think if you're an Anthony Davis, you're looking at the series just like, you're pre-ice bathing because you're like, this is going to be
You're
insane.
going to Darvin Ham today and being like, so we should probably start Rui on him, don't you think?
You're probably going to Darvin Ham and say, we should go light on these practices, man. I don't want to be sore for
if
that.
If you really
matchup.
look at the numbers after the Rui adjustment,
it was
there's
better.
something there.
So I think that's going to be tough, but LeBron is the guy that I think, again, AG probably guards Anthony Davis. I don't know. We'll see how it matches up. But LeBron...
No, AG is going to guard LeBron.
Last year, they put him on AD quite a bit.
Who guarded LeBron?
I'm trying to think back of who actually guarded him in the series.
Come on.
AG the whole time?
I mean,
Jeff Green, we talked about getting every minute he was on the court was against LeBron.
Jeff Green?
Yeah, Jeff Green.
Jeff Green came off the bench last year. What are you talking about?
And LeBron staggers with the bench.
I know.
That's what he does every game. Is he staggers with the bench.
Primary
I'm
matchup
just saying,
starting.
to start the game, Aaron Gordon's guarding LeBron James.
But he'll get matched up with Anthony Davis too in this series. You don't think?
No, absolutely.
Then what are we arguing about?
I don't know what you're arguing about.
No, you're arguing me about it.
You told me Aaron Gordon's not the primary matchup on LeBron.
He's going to guard up with Anthony Davis as well. We talked about it a second ago.
At times, sure.
Okay,
yes.
So that is a matchup for him.
That is one of his matchups, yes.
All right. So, all right. Where are we even going with this one?
I don't know.
Look, the LeBron piece of this, because
LeBron looked good last night.
Because I think LeBron, LeBron is poised to have a very good series in this one. That's the one guy. Like, if I got to concede something, I think LeBron is going to. He was good in last year's series. I think he's going to be great in this series.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to look that much different. Last night's game to me looked similar in that I think when LeBron is targeting your bench, when LeBron picks his spots for three quarters. LeBron played A++ in the first half of Game 4 last year. Like, perfect. And they lost that game. I think LeBron in the fourth quarter, the biggest difference is to me right now in LeBron from years past is in the fourth quarter these days, he does need someone else to sort of take up the work that he did for three quarters and finish the job. Like, I do think he gets tired in the fourth. So... I don't know if it's going to be any different. Like, here's my point. I thought LeBron was really, really, really good in that series last year until the fourth quarter every time.
Right.
And I don't know if that's it. He does have more, he will be fresher this time, but I still expect that to manifest.
We go to the other series, just real quick to talk about these ones. The Kings and the Warriors. The Warriors won a title 2 years ago. It's been rough in the 2 years since. That to me was... It wasn't sad. They've had their day. Every day comes and goes. I will say, I'm not going to lie. I did have the thought last night watching the Warriors about everything ends. You know what I mean? Everything ends. And for the Nuggets, knock on wood, I think we got a long runway here with this group. But it was one of those ones where the Warriors for the last 10 years, when they've been in those moments, have been this like transcendent team. And you watch them last night, they were so sad. That game was sad.
The Klay Thompson part was...
Honestly, man, it's how the Warriors have looked for most of this season.
I know, but it's like now you get to the play. You know, this is what it is. It's always all right, but it's playoffs. Let's see what you have. They actually had less.
Yeah.
Somehow they were worse than they have been.
I mean, Klay Thompson had nothing.
Literally his worst game of his career.
Yeah.
That part I actually genuinely feel bad about. Like, I know he had a great run. Like, he's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But that's tough, man. Like, these guys are all competitive. He was a world-class shooter for most of his life. And last night, he even probably thought to himself, if we go out today, I got to go out strong, you know?
Yeah.
He's Klay Thompson. There's pride involved. And he was as bad as he's been ever. And that is brutal, man. If that's his last game as a Warrior, he had a good run. There's more places our sympathy can go. But the Clay part was the one that I found tough to watch.
Yeah. You just wonder if this is the final straw for them.
I mean, there's no question. I don't even wonder.
Yeah.
If they somehow had Clay and Draymond and Steph on the roster next year, I would be like, who's over there at the helm? Because
well, it's Mike Dunleavy. That's who's at the helm.
Well, because I'm good friends with Sam Esfandiari. You know, he covers them. He brought up. There's a very good quote from him, Dunleavy, early in the year, and this is how front office people talk. You have to doing this job. You have to learn what people say because they'll tell you the thing sugar coated in another thing. And he said, you know. This year, Bob Myers did all the work building this team. I just have to put the finishing touches on what he did. And he's like, and that's what Trace Jackson Davis and Pajemski are. But he did all the work building the team.
What about Chris Paul?
Well, what he's saying, sure, he has to own that one. But what he's trying to say here is, this isn't my roster. I didn't build this team. I just brought in the guys you're going to like. You didn't like these other guys. That was the group that came before me. I think he's kind of right.
Well, when they trade for Giannis this summer, maybe they'll think about running it back.
The Kings now face the Thunder. I think the Thunder got a massive break.
Yeah.
Of all the teams.
They still got to beat the Pelicans.
Oh, that's true. Or the Pelicans. I'm sorry. Well, Zion's out. So you're right. I am getting way ahead of myself. They're 0-5.
Also out, Brandon Ingram.
Man, is he out? Is that real? Oh, I was gonna say, I had not heard that report. Ingram, if you don't know, got benched in the clutch last night and then stormed out of the arena. Not exactly a great inspires you that he's going to bounce back one day later here. And you're right, they have beat him 5 times, but if Zion's out, I don't know. I feel like the Kings have a shot. But either way, you're either talking about the Thunder playing a Zionless Pelicans team or a Kings team, and that's a good break, man. That could have been the Nuggets.
I know, man. Nuggets were one fourth quarter collapse against the Spurs away from playing the Kings in the first round.
You never know how these things will break, but it broke in a way where you're like, damn.
Yep.
Good. I will say from a Nuggets perspective, tough break. You just want all the best teams to lose. Good for the Thunder fans, though. I honestly mean that. Like that team was really good all year. And it'd just be so sad if they flamed out in round 1. I wouldn't have picked it either way.
Yeah.
But
you wouldn't have if it was like Lakers Thunder?
No, I still would have picked Thunder. By the way, I'm still picking the Wolves to beat the Suns, too.
Hell yeah.
But
small market, you know how screwed the NBA is.
Dude, small market energy, man. That's why I'm saying good for the Thunder, but also not too good, like lose in the second round.
Conference semis that has Minnesota, Denver, and OKC all in it. Let's go, baby.
Yeah, man, let's go.
Let's get weird. Here's my thought. Here's how I put the Kings should they match up with the Thunder. The Thunder are the Kings of this year. Meaning last year, this was the Kings. They were the top team that everyone was like, yeah, but we want them. We don't care that they're a top team. But the Thunder would face the actual Kings. So it would be a battle of two teams, that are not fraudulent. I don't want to use that word, but that team's the upper seed that everybody thought would be weak. So I think
Thunder are so much better than
of course
people
they
thought the Kings were last season, though.
I agree, but they still are an inexperienced playoff team, which in my opinion actually matters a lot.
Totally.
Tonight, Heat 76ers, how dialed in are you?
Not dialed in.
Why?
I just got other things going on.
All right.
Win versus the Eastern Conference.
Are you the same?
Forever.
Truthfully,
I'm out on Chicago.
I'm being honest. I'm not watching the game.
Wow. I'm out on Chicago, Atlanta.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm watching the first one. They are first, right? Heat Sixers.
Going out to dinner.
And I'm not watching the second one.
Joe Vanitas. Shout out.
I told you my theory with Embiid. I'm very curious to see how he performs tonight. Very curious.
What's your
he should
theory?
Dominate. I would not be surprised if he comes out tonight and looks like he did in that Warriors game prior to the injury.
I think it depends on how he shoots in the first half.
If he's like on fire, then it's like he's
then
great.
He looks great. If he's 6 or 17.
Doesn't he cook Adebayo?
He does. Traditionally, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, but we'll see what happens. I'm locked into him.
Nice.
Tomorrow, Big Market Brooks. Matt Brooks is joining the show. He, of course, writes for Nuggets.com. Really great analyst.
Great hair.
He's perfected the Denver look.
Maybe we'll have to talk about
that. We got to ask him about his hair routine.
I'll throw it to you for that one. Any super chats to get to?
Oh, hell yeah. Dick Veerman, 123. I'm so much more nervous about this playoffs run than last year's because the expectations are so much higher. If we flame out, we might go the way of the 21 Bucks. They probably had dynasty talks as well.
Here's the thing you have to understand, and this is what the championship has really taught me. None of this matters, man. Like you're gonna next year, you're gonna win this year. Next year, you're gonna feel the same. Like, oh my God, we have to do it, you guys. We have to three-peat or this or that. You're just never get over the hump. Nobody's ever gonna. You saw there were Laker fans in the chat today, weren't there, Kale? Were they confident in their team today?
Yes.
Have they lost 8 in a row to the Denver Nuggets and this or that? Like, this is the thing. You're never gonna hit. It's whack-a-mole with this type of thing, especially with the internet. You're never gonna get to a point where everyone's like, you know what? They are the best team and all this. You're always going to want that next one. And so, you know what? I'm going to want this next one. And I think the Nuggets have a great chance to do it.
I've sensed a lot of nervousness in the fan base ever since we found out it was the Lakers. I've sensed some nervousness.
You know what I say to that? Good, man. Sports are better when there's nerves.
There should be a little healthy amount of nerves. That's good, I think. It's good to feel that. But you also got to just remember who this team is.
I think it's just D-line. That's the nervousness you're feeling.
I think anytime it's the Lakers, there's nervousness because no one.
Yeah,
It
if
matters
they
a
were
lot to
playing
us.
the
Yeah.
Pelicans, there wouldn't be this.
One thing Lakers fans have keyed in on that they're 100% right about. Nuggets fans care a lot about this matchup.
Yeah.
They do.
Yep.
They were tired of being on the wrong end of it for so long. They very much enjoyed being on the right end of it. They don't want that to change so soon. I just think, man, we talked so much about the Suns and the Wolves and how the Suns were so good against the Wolves this regular season. Maybe they might win that series. If we care about this data, what have we seen from the Lakers-Nuggets matchup to suggest that this is going to go long? I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it won't. But what is that rooted in other than anxiety? I would argue nothing. It's 8 straight games of the same point being proven in the fourth quarter over and over and over again.
Yep. That does it. All right, hit the like button for us on the way out. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.